Pretty soon you realize everyone in there is
I tried to kind of tie him off.
Who are we gonna shut down?
Step off the wall for us.
Women's March on the Pentagon is important as women play an increasing role in trying to get our government, doesn't matter who's in power, to get our government to stop this warmongering they've been doing forever.
Because I believe that the women ultimately must take charge.
The reality is that we have a society that does not enable people to have the resources that they need in order to survive, and that does not give people access to the true information about what's happening.
At
least one person.
The governments of the world, women have the interests of children and grandchildren. They have born children, and they care and they love. Men by nature, we are hunters and gatherers. I live in Alaska in a very rural area, and I see it. I'm the only one in my village that won't own a gun.
And a lot of people from all communities, from sun-kissed communities and from white communities, go into the military with a misunderstanding of what it is and what they're going to be doing, and what that environment is like, but also as a means of survival, which is in itself a form of violence, to put a person in a position where the only way that they can survive, or one of the only ways that they can imagine being able to survive and secure a basic life for themselves, is to enter armed forces. That's a form of violence in and of itself.
Have the opportunity to share with you our greetings and our message of solidarity for us, a country and territories that has suffered greatly from the racist, imperialist, homophobic war and militarization of and money from the U.S. It's very important that women here in the United States is standing up as we stand up in Colombia and our Afro-descendant territories, defending life, defending the environment, defending the water, defending the resources that this greedy country want for their own benefit. So it's very important, and I salute this mobilization. I salute the voice of women in this country. I salute that you are today standing up here.
So I'm going to give you a little history of the Women's March on the Pentagon. It kind of started out as a joke between Ann Garrison, who is a journalist, and Cindy, who were kind of wondering why the women's marches that occurred directly after the election of Donald Trump didn't talk about war. There was never a discussion about war. We didn't see that. And some people have told me there were individual peace actions in different cities, but anyway, the media didn't give it any attention, so we didn't know about it. So they decided, they were kind of joking, and they said, hey, why don't we do a march? Yeah, why don't we do a march on the Pentagon? That doesn't sound so crazy, does it? So we're like, yeah, why not? I mean, as long as the First Amendment is still intact, I mean, it might be in shreds, but it's still intact, okay?
This world to break free, bring 'em home, bring 'em home, bring all troops back from overseas.
This is the beginning of a movement. We're hoping to bring all of you people and all the people you know and all the people that don't even know about us yet together to really start moving towards a peaceful world. It's going to only take a couple of years, Cindy said. I don't know. I'm like, are you sure? I've been doing this for like 50 years. She said, no, it's going to happen, Bonnie. It'll just be a couple of years. You just hang in there. So anyway, so I did, and so here we are. You know, there are so many people to thank. All of you are here. Every single person that is about to speak or perform has donated their time and their travel. When we introduce a speaker and bid them farewell, or a performer, give them like giant applause, because they're doing this on their own time, on their own dime.
This is not a movement because Trump. Right? This is a movement because
no wars.
Peace.
I'm Sherry Bauer from Troy, New York, and I'm here to start off with a song called "Love Me, I'm a Liberal" by Phil Oakes. Hey, the powers of empire have drawn a line, and for the beginning of this country, they didn't think that we were going to cross it and confront them. And the liberal class has held that line. They are 10 degrees to the left of center when things are going well, and 10 degrees to the right of center when it affects them personally. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
Well, we are the most belligerent country in the world. We have military bases in 70% of the world's countries, 183 countries, I believe. Meanwhile, you know, we spend on military as much as the following 7 countries combined. It's disgusting. It's disgusting in the number of people dying a day. We drop, the estimates are, although the Pentagon's begun covering up the numbers, the estimates from their earlier numbers last year are that we're dropping roughly 100 bombs a day under Trump. Under Obama, it was increased to 40 bombs a day. And, you know, these are innocent lives that are destroyed every day. Every day you're just going about your day, you're just getting your latte and everything. We're blowing up innocent people in other countries. So that is why I'm here.
So just come follow everybody. Just follow the person in front of you.
Hi, we are here to appeal about Okinawa province because now central government of Japan is forcibly starting land filling of the Henoko for American military base, which belongs to Marine, and people have been against this construction for 20 years. For 20 years, they are fighting. They kept fighting, and then now Okinawa has a new governor who is against the Henoko base too, and then still the central government is forcibly trying to start now the land filling, and then the Pentagon is backing their move. And then the other day, Mattis, the Minister of Defense of the Pentagon's leader, he met the Japanese Defense Force Minister, and then they said Henoko is the only solution. But this is totally against the Okinawan people, against the Okinawa government, and this is not the right way. You know, they have to respect the Japanese, people's, Okinawan people's democracy. So that's why we are here, and we're going to keep it spreading.
And how does the military base, the U.S. military base, affect the people of Okinawa?
Especially Okinawa, it's such a small place. It's a small island. The size is like 1/3 of Long Island, where I live. And they have 74% of entire military facility existing in Japan. And the size of the Okinawa is equivalent to 0.6% of the entire massland of Japan. This is not fair. They have been suffering from so many crimes caused by military personnel, and then of course crashes of jets, and everything everything is suffering, has been suffering Okinawan people, and then they are against it. They are against the military presence of the U.S. military, and then but the central government doesn't listen to it. And then,
And what kind of crimes? Like especially.
yeah, rapes. So many rapes, and even the little children, they were killed and raped and killed. And only last year, a young lady was raped by. He was not a military. Soldier, but he was a person. He belonged to military. He's working at the military, but a former serviceman, and also flying. The jet planes, the military jet planes, they fall a lot of stuff while flying above. And then even elementary school, they have a shelter to avoid those accidents. This is amazing. It doesn't happen anywhere else in the world.
Also environmental.
Oh,
Environmental thing, the noise of the jets and all that, like planes. And so some babies are born with some, the hearing disability because of that noise. That's what's going on. And also for the new, the planned base, they will, destroy all the beautiful trees, and lots of, endangered species were, being, disappeared if it will be, constructed. So it's a really, environmental thing also. That's a big problem over there.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Okay, yes, my name is Diane Moxley. I'm running for Congress in New Jersey's 7th Congressional District.
And if elected, what would you do on the issue of war and military?
Oh, so much, so much. With the Democrats and the Republicans right now, we are steered so off track. Right now, our Democrats and Republicans are voting for increasingly growing military budgets. So we need to reduce the military budgets. We need to close our foreign military bases. So it's 800 military bases in over 80 countries, but a more accurate figure would be 120 countries when you're counting the embassies and secretive bases. And they're not making us safer. They are polluting the planet, absorbing our resources, and making us more unsafe.
Is vested with the power to declare war?
Well, it's supposed to be voted on by Congress, but we know for the past several decades we have given, just by acquiescing, our presidents, whether it be George W. Bush or President Obama or President Trump, carte blanche to do actions across the globe. I mean, right now, at any given time, we're bombing about 7 different countries, and it has nothing to do with national security. It makes us more unsafe. So basically, we have the 2 major party candidates are just rights of center, and I am the Green Party candidate that is a voice of reason and sanity in a time of endless spending on wars. So I believe, the Green Party candidates that are out there right now are giving people a sane choice. So I tell people, vote from a place of peace and courage, not fear, because fear is exactly what has gotten us where we are today.
It's plain as it can be that rich folks profit from these wars. Without consent of Congress, they just keep on making war. There's no end to the bloodshed, and the whole world's getting screwed. So how's this war economy working out for you?
I'm here because this is ground zero. This is ground zero for the survival of humanity and the survival of our communities, really, because we're being robbed blind by the war profiteers and the political bipartisan system that is in bed with them, that is depriving us of our hard-won resources, our tax dollars, the lifeblood of our communities is being literally poured into that building right over there, which is eating up 57% of our discretionary budget, on its way to being some 68%. Well, life and death are women's issue. Our communities are a women's issue. Feminism is incompatible with militarism, and to truly stand up for the cause of women, we have to be standing up for all women. It's not okay to be bombing other women's children and other families' women, and feminism inherently recognize the unity of the human family, period.
Saying that that's putting Republicans in. What's your response to that?
The party to abolish slavery, initially the Liberty Party and then the Republican Party, were all denigrated as spoiler parties, spoiling it for the power mongers that were in charge. So of course they're going to smear their political opposition, and that's happening big time right now. We're in another era now of McCarthyism. Some people have suggested we should call it Maddowism in honor of its latest proponent for warmongering, censorship, and the suppression of political opposition. But we really believe that the solution for a struggling democracy is not less democracy. Political opposition is core to the, what democracy is all about. We should not be in the business of sanctioning two establishment parties, both funded by big banks, fossil fuel giants, and war profiteers. There's nothing more crushing to democracy than silencing debate and political opposition. But this is the era that we're in right now, and this is very much in their interest. This is an extremely self-serving smear campaign, and we really encourage people to recognize the facts. The facts are that most Green voters come from the largest voting bloc out there. It's called the non-voters, people who refuse to cooperate with a brutal and violent and manipulative political system, which is throwing us over the cliff and throwing working people under the bus. So we really encourage people to stand up and forget the lesser evil and fight for the greater good, recognizing that democracy is critical.
Hello, my name is Malak Abu Mayale. Well, I flew out all the way from Dallas to join the Women's March because as a Palestinian, I've been personally affected by the war, and I know many refugees that are women, that have children and have suffered greatly. So I thought if I come and join, I can actually spread awareness to the women that are, to the millennials my age, and show them that there are still movements out there that care about a bigger cause, and that we shouldn't just care about the very petty things out there. I'm young and I have a lot of friends, and I see them every day carelessly going about their days, and I said if I come and take pictures and show them that I'm in these marches, they're gonna follow my steps and say, okay, there's something more important in the world right now than our makeup and our fashion. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I just feel like the women my age are just, where are they? I don't see anybody my age here. And so I thought I want to come and be that change with my baby and teach him at a young age to stand with women, because again, I'm Palestinian and I've seen refugees. I've been in Palestine, and I was affected greatly as a young girl. And now that I'm older, I have the power to show my voice. And so I wanted to come down to DC from Dallas. And I hope my friends see my pictures and they ask me questions, and they become more aware that they can join these movements too. That's why I came.
And regarding Palestine, if you were talking, let's say you just met a young woman your age and you were friends, and she was Jewish, what would you tell her? What would you want her to understand?
I would tell her that I have many Jewish friends, and if I did see a Jewish girl, I'd tell her, listen, I love you, because both of us are human beings. How about we hold hands together, united as women, as females, as mothers, as sisters, as daughters, and let's speak out against the war machine that's affecting one day is going to affect your daughters and your children. It doesn't matter what race or background you come from. We should love each other because women, we are one force. You know what I mean? We are powerful, and so we have to stand together, no matter what's your background. I love you. Let's stand against the war machine because it's affecting our gender, our women, all over the world. So yeah, I tell her that.
What would you say to somebody who had strange ideas about Muslims? What would you say about and explain to them about Islam?
First, I would lead by example. My character, the way I carry myself, that's first and foremost, because you can only say so much, but people look at your behavior. And then second, I tell them that Muslims are, the reason why Muslims have such a bad name in the media is because of the propaganda machine, and that's to justify the wars overseas, and that's what's causing refugees. So in reality, this bad image of Muslims is because of the media that's trying to cause war, and that's affecting the women overseas. So I'm going to talk to them about the women refugees in the world that are affected by war, and that Muslims are very friendly and they just want to live just like everybody else. And they have babies and they want to travel and they want to have families, you know what I mean? And, live life to the fullest, just like every woman out there, white woman, black woman, Asian woman. We're all the same at the end of the day. Yeah. For the sisterhood, absolutely. Absolutely. We hold hands, we can make a lot of change. It's called woman empowerment. It's a real thing. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The solution for a democracy on life support is not less democracy, it's more democracy. And if people are concerned about the hypothetical splitting of the vote, well, let's make more democracy by giving people more choices through a simple voting reform. It's called ranked choice voting. The people of Maine just passed it. They had to pass it twice because of the resistance in their legislature, but they passed it overwhelmingly. More people came out to vote, and candidates are more collegial because they're all competing for each other's second votes. So it's a win-win for all of us. The only reason it's not being passed is because they're not really interested in preventing the hypothetical split of a vote. They're mainly interested in maintaining their stranglehold on power. That's not good for anybody. I'd say call their bluff. Challenge them to get out and pass ranked choice voting, or at least work for that, instead of blaming and shaming voters who refuse to go along with a corrupt and brutal political system. Let's not blame those who refuse to go along with that corrupt system. Let's blame the corrupt system. And furthermore, let's fix the corrupt system.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jill.
Thank you. Great talking with you.
My name is Manar Mohawish.
And why are you here at the Women's March?
I'm here at the Women's March because this march represents true support for the millions of women that are affected by war overseas at the hands of the U.S. military machine and its proxies, and the funding of terrorism around the world that has affected millions and millions of women around the world. The current establishment-funded Women's March is not speaking enough about women around the world, so that's why I'm here today to support the women.
And where are you from?
So my background is Palestinian. My parents are Palestinian, and I lived under Israeli occupation for 4 years. I witnessed the horrors of the military machine that took the homes and the children and the mothers and the aunts and the sisters away from their families. I watched the brutality of the war machine that affects families abroad, while the media here painted the picture through the opposite manner. They completely manipulated the narrative. So we are here today to speak up for those affected by war, those in Palestine, Syria, Yemen, around the world, in Africa, South America, and to say no more to war.
And do you think that war is a feminist issue?
What is that?
Is war a feminist issue?
Absolutely. War is a woman's issue because there are millions of women that are affected by war. Lots of children who are orphaned, their mothers die. Lots of women who have their husbands, their spouses, their partners die in war. So they are left alone to survive. The psychological effects affect the many women around the world. And I believe that
And I believe that war in general can only be stopped through a women's movement. Women around the world are oppressed. Women in the media are demonized, they're sexualized. We are treated as the other in many societies because they know that if they empower women, that great change can be made.
Yeah, keep him away from the camera.
Hamura. Hey. Walk with him that way. Yeah. And as women, we're good multitaskers, bringing our kids to protests.
Your baby was going after the camera.
Yes, yes. So I did finish what I was saying. Fighting against war is a feminist issue because there are millions and millions of women around the world who are left without their spouses, without their partners, to feed their families, to work hard for their families, to support their families emotionally and physically and mentally. Children are orphaned. Little girls are being sex trafficked around the world. Women in general are affected very much by war, and that's why we need to empower women, because only through empowering women can we end war. It's through a women's movement.
Thank you. And what about the media's portrayal of Islam?
My breath, I take a deep breath. Muslim women in the media are demonized, they're dehumanized to appear as if they are helpless, they are oppressed, that when they wear the hijab, that they are forced to do so, and that they are powerless. And these depictions of Muslim women are made so that we can convince the masses that they need saving, that the military needs to go into their countries and save them from those evil Arab Muslim men. Yet that's not the reality. That is an Orientalist depiction of the way that women are painted and caricatured in our media so that we can expand war. And actually what war ends up doing is hurting women in these Muslim countries. Our administration ends up funding and arming the very terrorists that follow a fundamentalist, politically motivated branch of Islam that is 100% politically funded and motivated, called Wahhabism, which ends up oppressing women. So the whole notion that our wars are saving women is an absolute lie. It's a facade to expand war for the military machine. Absolutely. I am an American citizen. I'm American, born and raised in the United States, although I did live in under Israeli occupation for 3 years as a teenager.
Palestine, will it ever be whole?